Both rising leaders of conscious hip-hop, both masters of storytelling, and both constantly mentioned when debating the best in the game, Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole are undeniably two of the most influential and celebrated rappers of this generation. On the surface, there's always been mutual respect, with Cole never hesitating to praise Kendrick, often calling him one of the greatest. But Kendrick, well, that's a different story. In fact, his actions and even his lyrics suggest otherwise. From subtle jabs in his verses to being the rumored reason their long-awaited collab album never materialized, Kendrick consistently refused to acknowledge Cole as an equal, leaving an unspoken tension lingering for years. But why? What makes Kendrick's stance on Cole so different from how Cole sees Kendrick? Well, to understand that, we need to rewind the clock and trace their journeys from the beginning. So sit back and join us on this journey. This is going to be an interesting one. Let's start with Kendrick's upbringing. Kendrick's parents grew up near Chicago's notorious O Block, with his father being a member of the Gangster Disciples. But his mother refused to let that life dictate their future, so she gave him an ultimatum: her or the streets. Luckily for her, he chose her, and they left Chicago behind, relocating to California in search of something better. Unfortunately, they landed in one of the most dangerous areas in America, and thus, Kendrick Lamar Duckworth was born on June 7, 1987 in Compton, California. Named after Eddie Kendricks of The Temptations, music was always in the background of his life, but so was gang culture. His father still had street ties, and growing up in Compton shaped his perspective from an early age. From the age of 5, Kendrick was already being exposed to gang culture, but his parents were extremely supportive of him. They emphasized education, and compared to his friends, Kendrick always had 2 parental figures in his life guiding the way for him.
It's a Compton thing. It's a gangster Compton thing.
Kendrick even recalled the first time he saw someone die, saying, "It was outside my apartment unit. A guy was out there serving his narcotics and somebody rolled up with a shotgun and blew his chest out. Admittedly, it did something to me right then. It let me know that this is not only something that I'm looking at, but it's something that maybe I have to get used to." This dramatically changed him, stripping away his innocence from a young age, and as he gradually came to terms with the harsh realities of his life, a glimmer of hope emerged right on his front door. In 1995, at just 8 years old, he witnessed Dr. Dre and Tupac filming the California Love music video in his neighborhood, which ignited something within him. Despite being quiet and reserved, Kendrick was hyper-observant, absorbing everything around him. His mother saw his potential early and encouraged him to write poetry as a way to express himself. Those poems eventually evolved into rap lyrics, and this is where he adopted the name K-Dot. As the story goes, one night K-Dot was out with his best friend Lil L, a guy who had been in and out of jail, still caught up in the streets. Kendrick tried to convince him to come to the studio to see another path, but L refused. Then, a few hours later, he was arrested again, this time facing serious prison time. That moment changed something in Kendrick, and the hunger for rap became undeniable. Not just as an escape, but as a way to make sense of everything around him. He knew the streets led to nothing but dead ends. So from then on, he made it his mission not to glorify the violence, but to expose the cycles that kept Compton trapped in a world of drugs, gangs, and poverty.
From Compton, I could have easily came out and said, I did this, I did that, just giving off fact where I'm from. But that ain't me. I'd rather talk about my reality. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather talk about something a little bit more deeper than that, the reasons and the problem and the solutions behind it.
Kendrick realized that if he wanted to tell Compton's story, the real story, music was the only way to do it. But to make sure the message reached as many ears as possible, he had to be undeniable. He had to be the best. That became his mission. From that point on, his hunger was relentless and his focus unshakable. It wasn't just about making music, it was about cementing himself at the top so he could be the one to make change in his community. Fueled by the realities of Compton's struggles, he dropped his first mixtape, Youngest Head in Charge, in 2003. The project started to make waves locally, eventually leading to a deal with Def Jam Records under Rick Rubin. At just 17 years old, Kendrick found himself in a meeting with Jay-Z, an experience that left a lasting impression. I don't think even Jay remembered that. This is when I first turned 17, and I remember coming out for a meeting and I was too excited. All I remember was Jay walking in the room and saying, "Yo, what's up?" and walked back to the elevator, and we was like, "Damn, that's Jay." So he doubles back, goes back to his office next door, and he's playing my music. He put me in the studio, and that was just one of those situations where I wasn't ready. While Kendrick's time at Def Jam was short-lived, the industry had already taken notice. Within a year, Manny Smith and DJ Mormile, two of the most respected A&Rs, recognized his potential and put him on the radar of Top Dog Entertainment's Punch. By 2005, at just 18 years old, Kendrick signed with TDE, setting the stage for his rise as one of the most innovative storytellers in hip-hop. His lyrics were sharper, his vision more refined, and he was already outpacing his peers in depth and substance. He then released his last project as K-Dot, called C4, in 2009. As Kendrick matured, he realized that K-Dot no longer represented who he was. He dropped the moniker and started rapping under his real name. J. Cole, on the other hand, had a very different upbringing, and this would affect his career down the line. Jermaine Cole was born on January 28, 1985 in Frankfurt, Germany, where his father was stationed in the military. However, after his parents separated, his father left his life and Cole was raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina. As a kid, he played basketball, took up the violin, and developed a deep love for music. By the age of 12, Cole had already started rapping, drawing inspiration from legends like Jay-Z and Nas. He focused on sharpening his wordplay and experimented with different rap names including Blazer and The Therapist, before ultimately settling on J. Cole. From there, he found a group called Bomb Shelter who took him in and allowed him to record music, while his mother would drive him to and from sessions. Recognizing his passion, she splashed out on a $1,300 ASR-X drum machine, giving him the tools to start making his own beats. In exchange, Cole had to pay for his own clothes and basketball camps for the following year. After high school, he pursued a degree in computer science at St. John's University before switching to communications, but life at home was crumbling. His stepfather stopped paying the mortgage and his mother struggled with drug addiction. Meanwhile, Cole was trying to break into the East Coast rap scene. He spent countless nights outside New York's 40/40 Club, hoping to meet industry icons and networking with anyone who could help him get a foot in the door, wearing his notorious "Produced for Jay-Z" or "Die Tryin'" t-shirt. And to his surprise, Cole finally got a shot. After waiting outside the studio for hours, he managed to hand-deliver a CD to Jay-Z, but Hov barely glanced at it before shutting him down with a cold, "I don't want that." For Cole, it was a gut punch. He'd left North Carolina, gone to college in New York, and positioned himself in the city just to chase this exact opportunity, only for Jay-Z to completely dismiss him. In 2007, he launched Dreamville Records and dropped his debut mixtape, The Come Up. Struggling to make ends meet, he fell behind on rent, but famously, his landlord believed in his vision and let him stay for free. His persistence paid off. Cole's raw talent and relentless grind caught the attention of Jay-Z once again, only this time, Jay personally signed him to Roc Nation in 2009 as the label's first signee. With that backing, his career took off. By 2010, he landed the coveted XXL freshman cover and was one of the most promising talents in the game. Now, you might be thinking, what is the point of telling both men's backstories? Well, unlike Kendrick, J. Cole wasn't rapping to escape life or death circumstances. His struggle wasn't about survival, it was about proving himself. He wasn't trying to outrun the streets, he was trying to avoid a life of routine where a 9-to-5 would dictate his future, and this will all come into play later on in the video. In fact, this difference in mentality was perfectly captured in his interview with Nardwuar, where he downplayed the weight of it all, saying,
"Why should people care about J. Cole? Why should people care?"
They don't have to care about me. They should. I'm not gonna say they should. If you do, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? If you like the music, that's what matters. But you know, I live a real life outside of this. You know what I mean? I do real things in real life. You don't have to care. And it's not that. None of this is that serious, me or otherwise. You don't have to care about me.
By the time Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole first crossed paths, their journeys in rap couldn't have been more different. In 2010, fate brought them together at the XXL Freshman cover shoot, an iconic moment filled with rising stars like Nipsey Hussle, Wiz Khalifa, Big Sean, J. Cole, and J-Rock. Since J-Rock was signed to TDE, Kendrick tagged along to the shoot, even though he hadn't made the cover himself. Kendrick later reflected on that moment in The Heart Part 1, rapping, "I was at the XXL just trying to excel. Networking, meanwhile my stomach turning. Wanted to be a part of it, cater it to my audience. J. Cole running late. If you don't show up, I think I could take its place." Ladies started laughing, no pun intended. I ain't being sarcastic. This is where things get interesting, because according to longtime rap journalist Rob Markman, who was a XXL editor at the time, he confirmed that Kendrick wasn't just joking, he was dead serious. Even before Kendrick and Cole had officially met, Kendrick was already gunning for a spot, literally. He had so much confidence in himself that he was ready to step into Cole's place right then and there. That kind of competitive drive was admirable, but it also signals something bigger. Kendrick saw Cole as a rival before they had even spoken. But first, after years of making YouTube videos, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to create what you're watching right now. Most people don't see the research, recording, edits, titling, and thumbnail drafts that go into each and every video. And quite honestly, it can be incredibly expensive for new creators. But recently, we found a game-changing tool, InVideo AI. InVideo AI brings the most advanced generative features to enable you to create entire videos from just a text prompt. For example, you could ask it to create a stunning long-form video about the awe-inspiring history of spacewalks, using this BBC article, and voila.
The awe-inspiring history of spacewalks.
What about a satirical 30-second ad to announce the release of a real-life Batmobile? Done. But it doesn't stop there. You can fine-tune your video with simple text commands like add upbeat background music to match the scene, add voiceover, or even translate my voice to French and much more, all with just a few words. From engaging stories and educational content to stunning visuals, InVideo AI gives you endless creative possibilities, all while basically removing all friction and allowing you to focus entirely on your vision and ideas while InVideo AI does all the heavy lifting. Try InVideo AI for free by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code that's on the screen. This will save you hundreds of dollars that you would otherwise spend on editing, animating, and other production costs. Plus, you can use my code to get 2 times the number of video generation credits in the first month. Enjoy. Kendrick saw Cole as a rival before they had even spoken. Later that night, Cole and Kendrick found themselves in the same space once again, only this time, it was at a release party for Inglewood rap duo's UNI album, A Love Supreme 2.0. It was here that Kendrick took the mic and delivered an insane freestyle, rapping a cappella for 3 straight minutes.
See, I'm the author of the author, the father of the Austin Power Forger who can bust like a charter wide partner. I know a jealous serpent is a burden to my life, but still I carry on like luggage in a flight.
Kendrick's performance left an impression on everyone in the room, including Cole. And that same night, Cole performed 2 of his biggest songs, Head Busta and A Star Is Born, the latter being a collaboration with Jay-Z. In the background, you can see a young Kendrick Lamar rapping along to every single word of Jay-Z and J. Cole's A Star Is Born. Even at this early stage, their paths were beginning to intertwine, drawing unconscious comparisons between the two. Cole had a laid-back, introspective style, while Kendrick's music was intense and extremely reflective, both conscious, but coming from different angles. That night, Kendrick wasted no time in making a move. He emailed Cole 2 songs, P and Patron and Cut You Off, both of which immediately caught Cole's attention. In a later interview, Cole revealed, "Later that night, Kendrick emailed me 2 songs. I was like, yo, I'm messing with this guy. I need to sign this guy." From there, I felt compelled to always give him any jewels I could. He even helped put Dr. Dre on him. However, by the time Cole made his offer, Kendrick was already locked in with TDE. Still, that didn't stop Cole from supporting him. As both a rapper and producer, Cole started sending Kendrick beats, helping him refine his sound. Considering Cole already had been signed personally by Jay-Z and got numerous cosigns in the industry, this was a big look for Kendrick. Over the next few years, their bonds grew stronger. First as collaborators, then as friends. But that competitive edge that fueled their first meeting never really faded.
Just wrapped up some studio. We got some coming secretly. J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar.
Secretly,
Yeah, all on this blank dish right here. Oh.
Wait, you got 2 just in case?
Nah, this is my.
Oh, okay.
This is, you know what that is. It's top secret.
As their collaborations continued, rumors of a full-length joint project between Cole and Kendrick started gaining traction. The first real hint came in 2010 when Kendrick mentioned it in an interview with Hard Knock TV. During the interview, he even played a J. Cole-produced track, which was his first time publicly acknowledging the project. At this point, Kendrick was clearly on good terms with Cole, referencing how much they were working together. Then in 2011, during the rollout for Section 80, Kendrick further fueled speculation by playing a never-before-heard track featuring a J. Cole verse. The song, Temptations, was the first of many unreleased tracks that would keep fans convinced this collab project was real. Shortly after, Kendrick doubled down in a XXL interview, confirming that the project was not just an idea, but was actively in the works. By 2012, both Kendrick and Cole were openly confirming that the album was happening. And in May of that year, Cole sat down with Bootleg Kev and revealed that the project was not just a mixtape, it was a full album. Later that same year, Cole gave another interview that took a slightly different tone. While still hyping up the project, he also hinted at the competitive nature of their relationship. He specifically referenced Temptations, admitting that after hearing Kendrick's verse, he felt like he had to rewrite his own.
And another one I got is this song we got now called Temptations. But when I gave him the beat, it already had my verse on it. I was just like, yo, I got this crazy beat with a ill verse on it, you know what I'm saying? Just do with it. Yo, when I tell you, you should never give it like Kendrick Lamar home court advantage. That was the first one first verse anybody ever spit on my song. And I was like, you little like, don't make me, I wanted to change my verse.
At this stage, there was no direct tension. Cole wasn't worried about Kendrick dissing him, but he was definitely feeling the pressure. Getting outshined on your own song is not a great feeling, and the fact that Cole even considered rewriting his verse speaks volumes. What this moment reveals is that Kendrick's competitive drive was already in full effect. No matter how friendly they were, he was focused on proving he was the best, and this underlying tension would only grow over time. What started as a friendly rivalry, one that sharpened both of their pens, would slowly evolve into something more complicated. And the collaborative album, which fans have been anticipating for years, would never materialize. Now, if you let some fans tell it, this was due to Kendrick shifting priorities as an artist. After all, if he was willing to forego a collaborative project with his own label mates in the form of a Black Hippie album, then turning down Cole wouldn't exactly be out the picture. However, according to Cole, it was their respective schedules that prevented them from ever seeing it through. As time went on, the quiet but undeniable friction between J. Cole and Kendrick would start to grow, and a major turning point in the relationship would happen in 2013. Hip-hop has always been built on competition. MCs have been battling each other since the genre's inception. So naturally, when two lyrical rappers from opposite coasts start gaining traction around the same time, comparisons were bound to happen. But after Temptations, the tension between J. Cole and Kendrick started to feel more real. That all came to a head in 2013, when Kendrick dropped what would become one of the most infamous verses in modern hip-hop history on Big Sean's Control. I'm usually homeboys with the same guys I'm rhyming with, but this is hip-hop and these guys should know what time it is. And that goes for Jermaine Cole, Pusha T, Meek Mill, A$AP Rocky, Drake, Big Sean, Tyler, and Mac Miller. I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you guys. Trying to make sure your core fans never heard of you guys. They don't want to hear not one more noun or verb from you guys. Now, this verse has been dissected into oblivion. Kendrick was making a statement. He wanted to push the culture forward and force rappers to step up their game. The verse name-dropped some of the biggest names in rap, calling them out in a way that was meant to spark competition. But for Drake and Cole, it cut a little deeper. As we all know by now, Drake responded by leaning into his more sensitive side and made it clear he was not a fan. Cole, on the other hand, also had a reaction to the verse, but instead of airing it out in an interview, he went straight to Kendrick. He called him up, wanting to know where they stood after Kendrick had talked about a joint album just the year before.
I'm gonna say this.
Did that you feel a kind of way?
I didn't even really hear the line.
Right.
I heard the loudness of the people.
Right.
The
hype.
Ooh. I had to have a conversation with him. You know what I mean?
Like, what was the conversation, man?
It was just, I mean, not even a doubt in the details. I just had to find out for myself. Like, yo, what?
You came at me, dog?
What's that? Please tell me what is that? I gotta know. And when I got the answer, it really, and then went back and heard the verse, like months later, I had to really check myself like, wow.
What was the answer?
The last person I thought would even feel away is you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Cole was genuinely surprised. The two had been talking about collaborating for years at this point, but when they spoke, Kendrick reassured him that it was just rap, nothing personal. And instead of being discouraged, Cole took it as motivation. That same year, J. Cole proved his loyalty when he defended Kendrick at a party after the verse dropped. Diddy, who was reportedly offended by Kendrick claiming that he was the king in New York, tried to pour a drink on Kendrick's head, only for Cole to step in. Things got heated, and while Cole and Diddy eventually squashed the issue, it was a clear sign that Cole still had respect for Kendrick, even after the public call-out. But the energy wasn't mutual. While Cole still saw Kendrick as a friend, Kendrick was moving differently. The dynamic between them had officially shifted. What had once been a healthy, competitive friendship quietly turned into something else, a secret war between two of the biggest rappers in the world. And for nearly 9 years, that war would remain hidden beneath the surface. J. Cole had finally grasped the competitive nature of his relationship with Kendrick Lamar, and he was ready to fire back. His response came on the remix of Justin Timberlake's TKO, where he wasted no time addressing Kendrick's Control verse head on. That long verse from a song called Control was on. The room got nearer, the tune got clear. That was when I seen that ish playing on your phone. Girl, what is that? A ringtone? Damn, not you too. Man, that hype done got you too. Everybody and their mama gassed. Even my mama asked what I'ma do. Decisions. In case this is war, then I load up on all ammunition. If that guy wants problems, my trigger's on auto. I'll make sure that nobody misses him. Cole made it clear. He felt blindsided by Kendrick's verse, and he wasn't amused by the way Control had been hyped up to legendary status. He downplayed its impact, calling it overblown and criticizing the industry's obsession with the moment. Then he sent a direct message. If Kendrick wanted war, he was ready to take him out completely. Despite the tension, the two still maintained a front of mutual respect, releasing their Black Friday tracks in 2015 where they rapped over each other's beats. Cole rapped over All Right, and Kendrick took Tale of Two Cities. With this, fans still clung to the hope that their long-rumored joint project was happening. But beneath the surface, the competitive friction between them was becoming more apparent. Fans started comparing the two MCs, saying Kendrick smoked Cole with his rendition of Cole's song on Reddit. While both rappers continued to coexist at the top, Kendrick began to pull ahead in the public eye. J. Cole had 2014 Forest Hills Drive, but Kendrick's To Pimp a Butterfly was a cultural moment, sweeping award shows and cementing his reputation as hip-hop's leading lyricist. Kendrick dominated the BET Awards, winning Best New Artist, Best Male Hip-Hop Artist, Best Collaboration and Lyricist of the Year, and Album of the Year, among others. Then came the MTV Hottest MCs list, one of the most influential rap rankings at the time. Kendrick took number 1, while Cole wasn't even mentioned. By 2017, the gap widened even further. Kendrick released Damn, winning multiple Grammys and more notably a Pulitzer Prize, an achievement unheard of in rap. Meanwhile, Cole had been consistently snubbed at the Grammys, not winning his first until years later. The conversation was shifting fast. Kendrick was being labeled as the best lyricist of the era, while Cole, despite his success, was often seen as second tier in comparison. Then, Kendrick disappeared. After Damn, he largely withdrew from the spotlight, reappearing only to curate the Black Panther soundtrack and support his cousin and protege Baby Keem on tracks like Range Brothers and Family Ties. While Kendrick was away, Cole stepped up, filling the void with a relentless run of music. It's from here that Cole's business acumen was also starting to shine. His label, Dreamville, was growing, signing talents like JID, Boz, and Earth Gang. He launched Dreamville Fest in 2018, drawing over 100,000 attendees and proving that he could operate beyond just his music. While Kendrick was stacking awards, Cole was building an empire by quietly positioning himself as a label boss, businessman, and artistic leader. But despite his success, the comparisons to Kendrick never faded. Between 2018 and 2019, Cole dominated the feature game, appearing on tracks with Boz on Tribe, 21 Savage on A Lot, and JID on Off D's, among many others. With 28 features in just 2 years, fans started calling him one of the best guest verse artists of the era, elevating nearly every song he touched. By 2020, Cole laid out his career roadmap, revealing his plan for his final releases. He would finish his feature run, drop Revenge of the Dreamers 3, release The Off-Season, follow it with It's a Boy, and eventually drop his long-rumored album, The Fall Off. But as his career progressed, he also started sending subliminal shots at Kendrick and subtly addressing the constant comparisons. One of the clearest examples came on Heaven's EP, where he openly acknowledged being ranked below Kendrick and Drake, but then challenged that perception. Some people say that I'm running third. They threw the bronze at me, behind Drake and Dot. Yeah, them guys is superstars to me. But then he flipped it. The tale's official. The best guy's breathing. I just failed to hit you. You couldn't tell because you fell for the bells and whistles. Here, Cole suggests that hype, marketing, and theatrics, things that Kendrick and Drake excel at, are the only reasons people still rank him below them. He believes that if rap were judged purely on skill, he would be at the top. Then in 2022, Kendrick returned with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and allegedly took a shot at Cole. On Count Me Out, Kendrick rapped, "Ain't nobody but the mirror looking for the fall off." Fans speculate that the fall off was a reference to Cole's upcoming final project, implying that Kendrick was waiting for Cole to disappear from relevance. Cole fired back on Johnny P's Caddy with Benny the Butcher and delivered one of the boldest claims yet, spitting, "I put your favorite rapper neck in a noose, never letting them loose. Cold world, that heat'll blast through your speaker." And then, "On God, the best rapper alive. Headshot, now go and ask the best rappers that died. They'll tell you he never lied." Cole was staking his claim. Not only was he the best alive, but even the greatest dead rappers would vouch for him. Fans immediately speculated that this was a direct shot at Kendrick, since Best Rapper Alive is a title Kendrick has claimed multiple times. Then, just months later, Cole doubled down. On The Secret Recipe with Lil Yachty, he rapped, "People fake progressive and woke. I started saying less. I had to stop it. Peeped how they profit off the racial stress. Some activists got so rich, they probably wish we stayed oppressed. Studio steppers moving extra on songs, faking rep." Here, Cole calls out fake activists, accusing them of using social justice themes for profit, and many fans saw this as another shot at Kendrick. He then refers to studio steppers, which many believe is a nod to Kendrick's album title, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And then the gloves fully came off. Cole released First Person Shooter in October 2023, where he took direct shots at Kendrick. "I'm naming the album The Fall Off. It's pretty ironic cause ain't no fall off for me. Love when they argued the hardest MC. Is it K. Dot, is it Aubrey or me? We the big three like we started the league, but right now I feel like Muhammad Ali. Hate how the game got away from the bars, this stuff like a prison escape. Everybody steppers, well, forget it. Then everybody breakfast and I'm about to clear up my plate." Cole was done with subliminals. He was directly responding to Kendrick's Count Me Out, shutting down any notion of his fall off. He called out Kendrick and Drake by name, claiming that he was the best of the big three, and even referenced steppers again. Fans had long suspected a brewing war between Kendrick and Cole. In October 2023, months before the feud exploded, a Reddit user even broke down all the subliminal shots, stating, "Again, I could be reaching, but whenever a rapper is repeating the same words in songs, it's for a reason. Is this a real thing? Or am I just like you other that has nothing to do better with their time? Who knows? We'll see later on down the line." And they were right. Kendrick had no choice but to respond, which led to the biggest rap diss track since Control. Kendrick finally fired back with Like That, and he did not hold any punches. The track came swinging with direct shots, making it clear that he too was no longer interested in subliminals anymore. Forget sneak dissing, First Person Shooter, I hope they came with 3 switches. Forget the big 3, it's just Big Me. What? I'm really like that, and your best work is a light pack. Prince outlived Mike Jack. For all your dogs getting buried, that's a K with all these 9s he gon' see Pet Cemetery. This was not just a diss. This was a full-scale declaration of war. The line, "Forget the big 3 is just Big Me," erased any illusion that Kendrick saw Drake, or especially Cole, as equals. He dismissed their legacies outright, calling Cole's best work a light pack, suggesting that it never truly held weight. Fans were shocked, but the response from Cole was even more surprising. For years, Kendrick and Cole had kept their distance. The last time they were even on the same song was 2020's Revenge of the Dreamers 3, where Kendrick had an uncredited feature on Under the Sun. Since then, they had operated in entirely separate lanes, barely acknowledging each other. But in March 2024, as Cole hosted his annual Dreamville Festival, he decided to respond. Like other years, Cole dropped a surprise project ahead of the festival. In 2022, it was D-Day with Dreamville. In 2024, it was a solo tape called Might Delete Later, featuring the track 7 Minute Drill. The song was named after a writing exercise Cole used to sharpen his pen, where he would write verses in just 7 minutes. But 7 Minute Drill wasn't just a lyrical exercise, it was a straight up Kendrick diss. He dropped lines like, "He's still doing shows but fell off like The Simpsons. Your first stuff was classic, your last album was tragic. Your second album put people to sleep but they gassed it. Your third album was massive and that was your prime." Cole outright mocked Kendrick's discography, suggesting that Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was a flop, To Pimp a Butterfly was overhyped, and Damn was his peak. He continues spitting, "It's a cold world. Keep the heat under your seat. I got a phone call that say that somebody's dissing. You want some attention? It come with extensions." Here, Cole implied that Kendrick was clout chasing, that his shots were less about competition and more about grabbing headlines, a claim Drake had also made a decade earlier after Control. The diss was bold and unexpected, since J. Cole was finally recognizing the disrespect that Kendrick had been sending at him for years at this point. The song immediately became one of J. Cole's highest charting tracks ever, debuting at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. But then, something strange happened. At Dreamville Fest, just days after dropping 7 Minute Drill, Cole backed down, and on stage, he told the audience he was removing the song from streaming platforms. He apologized to Kendrick, saying that he regretted the diss and felt bad for going at him. Fans were stunned. Why would Cole take back a response after being publicly disrespected first? As speculation ran wild, a report surfaced from All Hip Hop, revealing that something may have happened behind the scenes. According to sources, Schoolboy Q, one of Kendrick's closest collaborators and fellow TDE signee, allegedly had a conversation with J. Cole backstage at Dreamville Fest. The details of the conversation were unclear, but some insiders suggest that Q may have warned Cole about continuing the beef. TDE's Punch then added more fuel to the fire with an ominous tweet, seemingly confirming that something deeper was at play. With that, Cole was out of the battle, once again taking his seat below Kendrick Lamar in hip-hop. The public perception of Cole as he bowed out was hysterical, with everyone seemingly clowning him online. However, DJ Academics was probably the loudest critic and went on a rant on a stream throwing shade at Cole for backing down.
How the you apologizing to a who gotta jump to get on the monkey bars at the playground? This not the hip hop I like. Get Kendrick, get this J. Cole on out of here, man.
While the beef was primarily a war between Kendrick and Drake, J. Cole's name kept getting dragged into the mix, not as a contender, but as an afterthought. Drake was the first to use Cole as collateral damage, casually dismissing both Kendrick and Cole in push-ups. Then in Family Matters, he took it a step further, painting Cole as someone who was stressed over the beef while he himself remained unbothered. This was the underlying narrative that took shape. While Cole had publicly backed away from the battle, Kendrick and Drake refused to let him off the hook. Instead, they used his withdrawal as proof of their superiority. Basically, Cole's decision to back down was perceived not just as an attempt to keep the peace, but as an admission that he couldn't keep up. And of course, Kendrick ran with this. On Euphoria, Kendrick doubled down, once again making it clear that, in his eyes, there was no big three. Kendrick wasn't just responding to Drake, he was reinforcing the message that he had been sending to Cole for years. There was no friendly rivalry, no mutual admiration. In Kendrick's world, he was the only one that mattered. Then came Not Like Us, the final nail in the coffin. Even in a track aimed squarely at Drake, Kendrick made sure to get one last jab at Cole. Did Cole foul? I don't know why you still pretending. This was not just disrespect, this was humiliation. Kendrick was not just clowning Cole, he was using him as an example. The underlying message? Cole already knew his place. Why do you think you stand a chance? It was a devastating rhetorical move, and one that simultaneously buried Cole while applying pressure on Drake. Kendrick's treatment of Cole throughout the beef was not just about competition, it was a reflection of how he had viewed him for years. And unlike Kendrick and Drake, Cole is very different. He's always been seen as a down-to-earth person with a minimalist lifestyle. He's been spotted biking through New York City alone and even attempting a pro basketball career, taking a break from rap. These decisions reflect his disinterest in playing the industry game at the same level as his peers, and Kendrick doesn't seem to respect the decision. But Kendrick's dismissal of Cole goes back much further than this battle. From their earliest interactions, like Kendrick trying to take Cole's spot on the 2010 XXL freshman cover, to the way he referenced him in his diss track, to their collab ultimately not coming to fruition due to Kendrick's apparent disinterest, through to Cole teaming up with his arch nemesis in Drake. Kendrick has always seen Cole as a step below him. In the end, Kendrick may see his mission to uplift Compton as more important than any industry relationships. To him, proving himself as the best is not just about competition, it's about making a real impact. And in that pursuit, it seems that he could never truly respect J. Cole because acknowledging him as an equal would contradict everything he stands for.